Hello class. In this video series I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do site plans in Illustrator, how to render them. Site plans in Illustrator are a great spot to do it because usually it's not something that you can get from a 3D modeling engine or something like that. It's just too complex. Therefore it allows for a lot of creativity in the drawing, and we can see an example here. The one I have up on screen here is just something I've done. I actually tweaked it a lot from the original because I wanted to throw a bunch of things in there just to show you various tricks. I don't intend that everything in this video series or everything you see here on screen is going to be used for any one site plan that you do, but I think it's a great drawing to sort of learn all the tricks from. And so we'll take several videos to go through all this step by step on how to get various things here, and hopefully using this video or any of the other videos here I have up on YouTube, feel free to go and make the site plan drawing look the way you want to, because ultimately that is what it is about. What I've already done, and I've already presumably designed this and drew it in AutoCAD or Revit or wherever other software you're being an architect in. And I've already brought that work into Illustrator here, and I have other videos explaining this in detail, but what I do most of the time is I print a PDF for Illustrator, and there's several reasons for that. One is better line weight control, better scale control, and most importantly to have better editing control later on in the future. And so I know there's other ways of doing it, but I highly recommend that, and you can go to other videos if you want to see that. But essentially I just went to AutoCAD in this case, but just went to File, the Print Plot dialog box, set up a PDF printer, set up the size and the scale and everything else, and sort of printed it. And so here we go. Here's the CAD stuff as it comes through. Now, especially in site plans, I will do line weights, other line weight things throughout this video series as we are sort of moving through. So don't worry about that, but it's a great place to start, and that's true for any drawing. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and then go in sort of that first step. A lot of times people add satellite images into their site plans these days. It's a great way to get context. I've already gone on Google Earth, downloaded it, and oftentimes, I should mention, a lot of times I'll have Google Earth and I'll bring that into AutoCAD. I'll scale it up with scale reference and design over top of it. Then when I want to go to Illustrator, you really want to replace the satellite image. You don't want to print the satellite image from AutoCAD again, because the data, the way it breaks it up, just isn't as good. You want to replace the satellite image you originally saved, and so that's what I'll do here in a minute, but that's just a word of warning. So what I actually like to do is I'm going to start a new file, because this is a PDF from CAD. In the future I might make that again to re-edit this thing. So I want to start my rendering in a new file. So I don't want to go to open. There we go. I want to go to new. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go here, and I think 8.5 by 11 for this drawing is fine. Oftentimes, of course, I'll do them in larger size sheets. But I'll just say that is okay. And I'm just going to save this really quick. Why not? Because I like to be good. I like to save things. So I'll put it here, site plan, save. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer over here. My layer 1 I like to call CAD. And all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to come to the PDF that was from CAD, select all. You can do Control A, or if you're using a Mac, you can do the Clover thing. To do it, I'm going to copy it, which is edit copy if you want to go or cut, and then I'm going to go to edit paste, Control V, or for example, and there we go. I'm just going to lock this layer now, and then all my rendering stuff will be done over top. Of course, if I ever change the CAD work, it's easy because it's just in one layer that I have to worry about replacing. Now I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to pull it down below the CAD work. CAD's usually going to be my top layer, except for maybe some extra line weight work or legends or text or things like that. But then usually the bottom one is going to be the satellite image. You might call an aerial. I'm going to call it satellite, call it SAT for short. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go File, Place, and I have it already saved again from Google Earth or Google Maps. Now the thing is, it's not going to come into scale. In AutoCAD you can always scale reference to get a good scale, but there's really I'm not familiar with any way to do that in Illustrator. Fortunately, in Illustrator, this is a rendering. It doesn't have to be as precise as CAD or BIM work needs to be. So I just sort of eyeball it into place. Maybe I'll temporarily change the transparency down, although I'll often turn it down anyway to soften it in the image. We'll get into that later, but you just sort of have to go in and know where the site boundaries are and just scale it carefully to match what your background CAD is. So this might take me a few minutes. I might even pause the video here if it's taking too long, because again, it's not going to take a tremendous amount of time, but it might take longer than what you want to watch me playing around with a satellite image. And I'm just scaling it a little bit and then moving it back into position, and we can see that I still need to make this thing larger. And I don't remember how large I saved on this Beyond the Site, but I've got that there. And I'm getting really fairly decently close now, but I still have a little bit of work to do, so I'm just going to pause it and come back. So there we go. It's just took me maybe 2 more minutes to get this aligned the way I wanted to, scaling, moving it into place. The thing I want to mention, sometimes, especially if you have a survey from a surveyor, your CAD, if that's where you're starting your CAD work from, which is the best place to start from, your CAD plan and the way that the satellite image comes in may be slightly different, and you might have to scale sort of more horizontally and more vertically. That's because the Google Earth and Google Maps is based on a globe, but really surveying and architecture assumes sort of a flat plane. So because of those change in geometries, you might need to scale things not just from the corner proportionally for your satellite image, and that's okay because it's just a rendering, it's just an estimate. Never, of course, always, whenever you're dealing with your CAD work and your design stuff, always scale proportionally. In fact, as in this case, always print it as an architectural or an engineering scale to make sure that that it makes sense to the viewer in communicating. So there we go, I've got that. I'm just going to lock the satellite image layer because I don't need that, and I'll save it and I'll move on to the next video.